Okay, so welcome back, guys. This video, we are now discussing about there's a project actually in SQL Server that I want to cover here, and it's very uh, advanced level project. It is going to give you a lot of knowledge, provided if you already know the SQL. We are going to use the triggers, right? And select statement, insert statements. Very powerful, knowledgeable session. So first of all, let me explain you what is the situation. And of course, we will take the help of the ChatGPT. And I have taken the help of the ChatGPT. And after, I think, spending almost 25, 30 hours, trust me, I've been trying to crack this for the last 3, 4 days. ChatGPT can help, but sometimes, the things doesn't work. So you have to keep putting the questions on the ChatGPT. And then, you have to give your input, what I mean to say. So if your fundamentals are clear, ChatGPT is as they say, it's a revolution, right? Especially in our industry. Now, this is the data, as you can see here. Now, in this data, what we want to do is we want to make sure that if any email is duplicate, okay, if someone, let's say, insert the some data, right? Insert query, what I mean to say. Now, in the insert, if you have an email here, right? You have an email here, and there are two possibilities. One is that email can be a unique email, or it can be, let's say, by mistake or somehow, I don't know, if it is a duplicate email, right? Now, what we want to do is we don't want to stop the users from entering the duplicate emails. Generally, you can put always the constraints on the emails. You can use the unique constraint, and that's very easy. So anyone who is going to enter the duplicate email, it will not be allowed, right? But we want to do something different. If it is a unique email, obviously the email will go here in the next row, right? No problems in that. But if it is a duplicate email, then we want to insert that here, right? But what we want to do is, because if, let's say, Amit Sharma is already there, I don't want that if anyone, again, there is another Amit and he is also using the same email ID. Of course, the employee ID will be different. Then I don't want that the email should look like this. We want to add here some sort of identifier, which means if we want to prefix something with duplicate emails, that's it. That's it. This is what exactly we want to do now. Are you getting the point? Right? Employee ID is going to be generated automatically because we are using the identity. In this column actually is on the, let me show you here on the increment, basically auto increment, since I've been practicing. So now you see here, I mean the ID like after 2 there is a 20, but generally if you have used the identity insert, then this is not how the things work. So if I take you to the properties, so this is just for your knowledge. So we are using the identity as true, and the siege, the first value is 1 and the increment value is 1. So it means anytime when the insert email works, just in case if somebody doesn't know, automatically the next ID will be incremented by 1. So this is something we want on the auto mode. We are not going to do that, right? I mean, we are not going to insert this. We are going to insert the email and the name and the department, right? Now, you see, the thing is, how do you write the insert SQL for this? You will say insert into customers, right? And let's say there's a name, there's an email, there's a department, and then values, right? So I'm just going to take some values. Maybe, let's just take the values from here to save the time. So this is how it is, right? This is how it is. You insert the email, right? Now pay attention. In SQL Server, when you're going to insert the data, we don't need this data to be inserted here just like that. We want to cross-check the data. This row email. If this email exists here, then there has to be some unique ID which we want to generate, and we want to prefix that with this email ID. And then, we are going to allow this. If it is a unique email, then of course it should go immediately, right? So how are you going to check all these things? When the user is going to insert anything, you don't want the user to run a specific SQL, the code you have written, which is going to check all these things, the checks. It should happen on the automatic mode. So that is what I'm discussing here, the triggers. So we're going to talk about the trigger here. This is the project on the triggers, right? Triggers. Triggers are like, as I said in my previous sessions also, they're like the VBA event. That automatically when the condition runs, when the query runs, that trigger will fire automatically. Now we have some triggers that we can create in SQL based on this insert query, right? Of course, I can create this again, create trigger, and I can write the name and then on the table, all that as begin and, right? So let's save the time. Now, for example, I want to take the help of the ChatGPT here. I'm just telling you because I have taken the help of the ChatGPT, right? As I said, but there were a lot of problems. There were a lot of the combinations that I had to take care, and I was not able to. I think it took definitely 25 or 30 hours for me, right? So I mean, it took so much of time, and because you have to do other jobs also apart from this. So I need to. This is just I'm telling you that how I've taken the help of this ChatGPT. I need to create a trigger in SQL Server which can do following thing. Email is unique. It should be allowed. If email is duplicate, then I want that email prefixed with some unique identifier, right? So my table name is customers shopping, and it has three headers, right? So one is, as I said, that ID, and then name, and then email. For example, let's just mention these things. And please note that ID is ID is on auto increment, right? Seed value is 1 and incremented by 1, right? Can you help me? Host, I'm not definitely going to now discuss what the ChatGPT is going to give me, because ChatGPT given me a code, but on that code I had to work a lot. I had to twist the things. I had to plus minus the things, because ChatGPT also, I mean, sometimes if your project is complex, don't expect that it is going to give you the clean solution. So as I said that, I had to do a lot of testing for this, and then I had to come back to the ChatGPT, keep trying, and finally, I created a code. But my point is that you can definitely go and take the help of this from the ChatGPT. It helps you a lot, right? And possibly if I was not too busy in other things also, maybe I could take lesser time. I can't say that, but so you see, this is what the trigger actually has created, right? This is what it has created, that you can do all these things, right? So this is how it is. So if I just copy this, for example, I'm just going to copy this. So this is where we will just go and copy paste it. Okay. Now the basic things we will keep here, and the other things I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to rebuild for you. Okay. Very interesting. Now you see, this is how the trigger gets considered, the created. I mean, this is create trigger. As I said that you have to give the trigger name. Trigger is, as I said that, whenever the insert query runs on the table, you have to write at the table name, right? And whenever you run the insert query, the trigger will fire first, and then the insert query will come into action. Before that, this will fire in the background in just fraction of seconds. Now you may say that, so how do I know that this is only for the insert query? What about the delete query? What about the update query? So for those queries, you can write here instead of update, instead of delete. Are you getting the point? Okay. So this is just for the table, and this is, you have to mention here instead of insert. So please don't run the insert SQL just like that, right? No, you don't have to run the insert query. Instead of the insert, please come here, and whatever I'm going to write here, that is what you have to go and do it. So actually, now what you're saying is that insert query, the only this insert query that we have written, where is that insert query? Yeah, this query will actually never run. This will only fire the trigger, and then whatever you have done in the trigger, that is going to be executed. All right. So trigger are always closed by end keyword. Remember that, right? So from here, to here. This is all the code. This is all the code. I'm just going to delete this for you. All right. Right. But I just wanted to tell you that I use the ChatGPT and it has helped me a lot. In fact, I learned a lot of new things. Fantastic ChatGPT. I love ChatGPT. Really. Super. Okay. So now you understand the entire concept, right? Even if you're doing that, this is the trigger. This is the trigger. This is how you write the trigger. All right. So this is your table name, because trigger will be created on some table. It is not like on any insert query. No, you always have to mention on which table the trigger should fire. Okay. Because you may be running 100 of insert queries on 100 different tables, right? So you have to mention this, you're dealing with which table. And then this is the instead of insert, right? There's another type of the trigger that I will not discuss. That is a different thing. But instead of insert or update or whatever, as I said, delete, this means that instead of running that SQL on this table, whatever you will mention here, this trigger will fire, and it is always, it starts with as, begin, and end. Now, what is the plan? Now, this is very actually interesting. And you know what? Initially, I was not able to build the logic, as I said. I thought it's very easy. But then as I, went deeper into the project, I found that there are a lot of things I have to take care. So I'm going to tell you all that. Now, see, what basically we are going to do is, as I said, that there are two possibilities, right? There are two possibilities. One is if email is unique, right? If email is unique, we want to insert the email as it is, right? Of course, with the rest of the values. Is it clear or not? Then there is no problem. Simply we have to insert that, right? The another possibility is that email is duplicate. Then prefix that email with some identifier. Okay. Now, how are we going to do that? So for that, we will discuss that later. Now, if the email is unique, what do you want to do? Let's say, for example, let me just, yeah. See, for example, right now, these are the ID, and let's delete all this. Delete from customers shopping where employee ID is greater than 1. I'll keep only one row. Okay. Let me connect this. Customers shopping, and I have to use the right database actually. Let's run this. Oops, where? Okay, so let me copy this here actually, paste it here, because I will be needing these two queries. Okay, it's customer ID. Very sorry. Customer ID. All right, let's run the query. So we have Priya and we have p.inc.com. Correct? Now, if I add here an email ID, let's say this Vishesh with v.inc, right? Now, this insert, when I'm going to fire, when I'm going to run, this will go in the instead of insert trigger, right? And the trigger name is, by the way, trigger underscore insert underscore customer shopping. Okay. So we have to create this right now. We are just writing. You have to run this. Only then it will be created inside this trigger under this customer shopping table. Okay. Now the plan is that, so when this email goes, we simply want to insert the data, right? Insert into DBO dot customers shopping, right? This is what we want to do. The data should go here. This is a customer shopping table, and the data should go from where? Select name, email. That's it. Yeah. There's no department. Sorry. Yeah. From inserted table. You see that? Inserted table. Now this is the table which SQL Server uses. Whenever you are inserting anything without telling you, without your permission, SQL uses this table. So what you see in your table, basically first that gets to the a virtual table which SQL uses. So imagine like this is the table which SQL is using, and this is as your table. The moment you fire the insert query, what happens? First, that table, the records go, they go here. First, they get added in this table. So this is a table, temporary table, which SQL always uses for the insert query. In fact, it uses for other queries also, right? Finally, when SQL checks everything is okay, fine, then this basically the information goes here. Are you getting the point? So from the insert, the data goes here, right? From the insert, the data goes here in the inserted table. The name of this table is inserted, right? You can search in case if you want. Very interesting. And then that goes here finally. Okay. So this is how it is. So that's why I'm saying that you have to put all that data from the inserted to here, right? This is basically the thing, right? Now, the thing is that in this particular case, I'm saying that only you have to insert here the data only if the email is unique. Now, are we checking that email the entered by the user is unique or not, right? Suppose if this is this email, will insert the data here, and then you will have another email, duplicate email. You have to write here a condition that makes sure that this email should not exist in the main table, customer shopping table, the real table. So how are we going to do that? Well, it's very simple. We will simply say that whatever you select from the inserted table, remember the inserted table is this table, the virtual table. Let me just write it here if I can. This is your inserted table, virtual table, temporary table, right? Now here, customer ID you will not get because that's auto-generated. You will have a customer name and then email, correct? Right now in this case, for example, you have here Priya and then Vishesh actually, PHINC.com, correct? This is what you have, right? Now, the next thing that we want to do is that we are going to select all this because this is what we want to insert into this table, isn't it? Right? This all actually has to go here, isn't it? But before we insert, we want to see if it is a duplicate or not. If it is a unique, we will insert. Otherwise, we will first make this unique. And for that, we have to go and work here. Now, how I'm going to do that? Well, what we will do is we will simply say that from this table to this table, if the emails are equal, if the emails are not equal, right? If the emails are not equal, which means this email, if it does not exist in this table, wherever it is, right now it has only one email. It can have 1,000 emails, right? In that case only, if this email does not exist in this table under this header, only then you are allowed to insert it, right? Because that means it is a unique. So what we will do is, we will write here where not exist. This is how you write. Not exist means, now in the not exist, you write one query, which is what? Select one. You can write star also. It doesn't matter, right? But generally people write one. Select one from your table called customers shipping, right? Where customers shipping dot customer ID. I should give alias name here, but I think this is okay. Or maybe we can give, I think, why not? So what I will do is, I'll just write here C, and here for inserted, we will write I, right? So select one from customer shipping where C dot customer ID equals to I dot customer ID, right? And close this. This is the plan. Okay. This is the plan. And so we can write in this way. Let me just use this as C. Let's see that. Okay. Now, what exactly this means? See, when you write in this way, basically you are trying to say that actually it's email ID. You're trying to say that if even a one row comes, one or multiple row doesn't matter. Minimum one row. This means this. When you're going to basically say that if this email from the email, this is I inserted, right? If this email is equals to this. So basically in this query, what happens line by line, row by row, this email will be checked here with this email header, right? Because who knows, maybe we are inserting here 6 emails in this insert query. And that is also something I will discuss. So all these emails one by one, this SQL will look up here and see that if it is there or not. If it is there, then this returns true because you said select one. If let's say there is no match and right now there is no match, so this will return actually false. So this actually, the way you write this returns either true or false. And so whenever you're going to use the not exist or just an exist, it means basically you're trying to find out something, right? So we are saying that if not exist is true, because you're writing not exist. Otherwise, if you want to do that, if it exists, then you write exist, right? So if the not exist is true, this means that this email is not there, then we are going to allow this in this table. Basically, this is the plan. Now, first of all, we should check if the trigger that we have created, if this is okay or not, right? And so first, let's select this and let's execute this. It says command completed. Very nice. Now, under this table, let me refresh this table. So let's click on this. So now you can see that the trigger is inserted. Very nice. The same trigger, right? So it means that now whenever we will run the insert query, this trigger will fire. So let's quickly check now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to, first of all, let's see the data. So this is our data, original data. Now I will go and insert this and let's check that if this is going to be inserted or not. Invalid column name. So I think this is invalid name, customer name actually, customer name. You don't have to write the names here if you're following the procedure, if you're following the right sequence, but I have still written it. And so there we go. So let's try to now run this. Okay, so one more thing, invalid object name, customers, shipping. Well, I have never used the customer shipping. It was customer shopping, as you can see. All right, so this is a big mistake. All right, so customers shopping. Now you have to go and customer shopping. Yeah. So now the trigger is already created. So please, you have to alter this trigger now. Okay. So let's just go and, so these are the mistakes that one can do. So I'm going to, just go and discuss everything in front of you. So invalid column name, again, there's a, okay. So I guess this is again the problem, the customer name. All right. So let's run this again. This is successfully completed. We can keep that order there as it is, no problem. Let's run this now. Invalid object name C. So I guess I should write here because this insert query is a different query, totally different query. So let's just mention this here. And yeah, let's not mix that with the select, with this query select. Okay, so let's execute this again. Again, it is altered. So this is how you got to do the things. This is how in the real life you may do the projects. Now you see, I have inserted the query and you see one row affected. Okay. So let's go and Now leave this discussion 0 affected and wonder why I'm getting the prompt 2 times, because trigger is generating, and in the trigger you have this insert into and then there's another insert into that you're doing. So we will maybe discuss that thing later. It is not important. What is important is that I should check the data and see that what is happening, right? Now, if we see here that I still don't get that the name here, right? And yeah, now so it means that the query is working, isn't it? Because you see p at inc.com is, we said that if it does not exist, because we have not written anything yet for the cases where the email is found, it is duplicate and it has to be prefixed with some identifier and then inserted, right? This is only saying that if it does not exist. So I'm going to say that, let's say VISH, and now this email does not exist. So if I just run it again, now you see one row affected, one row affected. Previously this was coming as zero row affected, right? So anyways, let's leave that part. The thing is, this insert now has inserted the data. That's why it's not showing the 0. You see customer ID is 190, which is okay, because we are doing a lot of practices. So that's why in this table, you don't see the 2 ID, because I was doing a lot of testing. Now the ID is generated and this is superb. So it means the things are working, right? Things are working. Now, before we go to the another part, now what will happen if, for example, I go and say I want to insert 3 rows. Okay. Now here, this is, let's say, Amy. And for example, this is p.inc, the same email ID, which is already there. And this is, let's say, Donald, right? Now, what will happen if you go and insert this? What is going to happen? All these emails will go here, correct? So you have all these emails here. And then we are checking that all these emails one by one, if they are there, if any of the email will be there, this will give you the value called true, right? Which means where not exist comes as true. So now we have 3 emails, right? So this particular area now will return true and false. And obviously, because we are using the not exist, so wherever the ID does not exist, that will be inserted. So it means that p at inc and wish, these two we have here, and so this should not be inserted because this is this exists basically already, and this also exists. So it means when I run this, I should see here only one ID, which is $dd@inc.com, right? All right. So let's go and see that. Let me execute this. So it says that incorrect syntax near the keyword values. Okay, I'm very sorry. Actually, we have to remove this, right? Let's run this. Yeah, fine. So it says one row affected. This one row actually is for this insert. Okay. And ideally, one row should be affected only. So let me just go and see this now. So we should see here DD, right? So let me remove all this. Let me remove this actually. Yeah. So you can see that this is really working. Superb. Are you getting the point? Right? So this is very easy. Now, the next thing that we want to do is that if we have the duplicate emails, then how to insert them? Because in this case, I'm losing the data. I want this also and this also to be inserted here, right? So now my instinct says that, it's very simple. I'm just going to write here one more insert query. So now generally we will say that, instead of the not exist, we will say that if it exists, correct or not, right? And just for my own clarity, I'll mention here the fields also, though it is not required as I said, but we will mention. Now here pay attention that basically with this email now you have to go and, put you have to prefix something here, right? Rest everything remains the same. So in this case, if when you're going to do the row by row mapping of these IDs, this wherever it exists, that is the particular thing we will go and select, and then we will insert that into the customer shopping. And now to do this, here we have to do something. There's a function in the SQL server. Let me just show you. New ID, this one. This basically function is called new ID. You see this function. So we just need to concatenate this with this, and because this I am concatenating this with text field, so we will use cast function, and we will change the data type of this varchar. I'm just gonna give it a name, let's say 40, right? Every time when you run this, what will happen? New ID will be generated, and that is what I'm actually prefixing with the email. All right, and finally, then this should go here. So this is the plan basically, right? Now, first of all, let's come back here and let me delete everything which is greater than 1. Let's have the, let me just execute this. So this is your original data now. Fine. Now we are going to insert all this. So generally we expect that at this point in time, if I run this, all emails are unique, correct? So it means here not exist will be true for every email. And then we expect that all these 3 emails will go here and the total number of rows will be 4, isn't it? And this is the idea. So let's run this. And now 3 rows affected. Let me just see this. You have got here Vishesh and Donald. You didn't get the Amy. Well, my mistake, because Amy email ID already exists here, right? But the point is that then this step 2, it means that it did not take care of this point. Because here, if this email comes, right? If this email comes, this exists, this says exist, then this should have been inserted in this table. And the reason might be because we didn't actually alter the trigger. So I'm just going to execute this again. Command succeeded. Now let's try to run this. Again, I delete everything. So those changes are now updated because we have inserted a new query. So let me just run this again. Right? All right. There we go. Now let's run this. Look at this now. Now this is the problem. And this is where I started thinking this is not exactly so easy. This is not as easy as it looked to me initially. Basically what is happening, you see here, please pay attention. This is very important. First, this goes in the inserted table, the table that we have created, right? Here, in this table, right? Now, this email is not found because our data, this was our original data, right? So what happened, this email is inserted here, which is perfect, very good, right? But then particularly talking about this email, what happened, then the SQL moves here in the part 2. It finds again one more insert into. Now pay attention. Now here what happened, you are saying that if the email exists, by the time this area SQL is busy in executing, you already have got not just one email but 2 emails. And this time your actual data is this, and which has already this email, right? And here, then again, the matching will start row by row from the inserted column to this column, this table, the main table. But now the change is this main table now has this email ID also. And then what happens, this wish@inc.com, this results, this says that yes, it exists. If it exists, then what happened, on that particular email, a new ID is generated. So this is a new ID which is generated, and that's why if you see here, the same email ID is inserted. And this is something we never wanted it. And that is where the problem starts. As I said, you got to really think here, right? So what is actually happening is that from here, whatever the data goes here, because that data is unique, the emails are unique. Later in this particular part, when the lookup is happening, the email that is already inserted, that email is found here again. Because this and this both are picking this table, isn't it? And in this table, you have all these 3 email IDs. Now, the unique ones have already gone there in the main table. So the table expanded. Now the table has those emails also, which again, when this particular area is going to look up those emails, they found that, those emails are found here, which is why this exist comes true and the ID is generated. This is the problem. Are you getting the point now? Right? Which is why, if you see, then the Donald DD at INC, first it was unique ID because we have only p.inc. So this is coming from that first query, first part. But then again the lookup happens with the Donald, and then unique entry is given. This identity is given to Donald because of the second part. Because second part is also insert into. Right? Now what about the AMI? Now when the AMI comes here, pay attention. Because you may say that why then AMI is not repeating? Because AMI has email p@inc, which is already found in the first insert. So it is not exist. We are using not exist, but it is exist. So this area here, insert did not happen. Wow, beautiful. Isn't it? So insert did not happen, right? Finally, when you come here, so it says, yes, this email exists. I'm talking about AMI, p.inc. This email exists. So if you see, for this particular email, this particular portion works. And this particular portion did not work because of not exist. So these are the things happening. Like, so we have to go and sort out all these problems. So the challenge is that every time the lookup happening, and from the first part, email goes there, and those emails then will get reinserted, because when the lookup happens again from the inserted table, those emails are found there, which were never there before. All right. So the plan is, basically what we will do, we will use of course the 2 insert queries, but we have to modify this, right? So the plan is that, suppose, let me just again say delete. Let's give some unique numbers, row numbers. Now this is your ID, okay? Now see, suppose you have entered here, let's say AMI. Now I'm just telling you what is going to happen here. p.inc. This also p.inc. Let's say this is also p.inc, comma, this and this. And this is, let's say, J. So this is J, for example. And let me press enter. This will make you more comfortable. And this is, again, let's say J.inc. And I'm going to keep one more. Very interesting. This is, let's say, PKJ. And this is, let's say, file. Okay? Now pay attention. When I'm going to insert all this, what is the plan? The plan is that let's give each of these rows a row number using the over clause, right? You know row number, right? Row function. So this will be a row 1, this will be a row 2, this will be a row 3, this will be a row 4, this will be a 5, and this will be a 6. I'm just writing it here, right? No, not this way. We will use the partition by email. If you remember, so when you insert the row with partition in the over clause, partition by email, all the emails that are same, they will have a sequence. So this p.inc, this and this and this, they will have a sequence here like 1, 2, 3. But this j.inc will again reset to 1 because you will use the partition. And this will be 1 and 2. And this will be 1. This is the difference. Now you will say why we are doing it. Well, I'll tell you. First of all, let's go here. Let's set this. So select customer name, email. Now, what we are supposed to now do is, because I want to basically use those row numbers, and if I just create a query here, select, I can't use them. I can't use a row number because it does not exist actually, right? Because I will be creating a new field. So we will write here CT1. I'm basically using a common table expression. Okay, so we're just going to use the common table expression, and in this common table expression, here I will say CT unique, CT common table expression unique, and we will just pick everything from here. Select customer name, email from this table. This is how I'm going to write it, and like this. Okay. Now one thing that I want here is that I want to create here the row numbers, over clause, and the partition by email. And you have to write order also, order by also email, mandatory, you know that, right? And here this will be my row, for example, my row. This is what I will now go and do. Now what will happen, how does the partition works? I explained you. Whatever the insert query will give you this, because you said partition by email, so row numbers will not be generated like 1 to 100. It will be generated based on these same values, same emails, packages, in groups. Group is the right word. So every email which is same email, they will have a sequence like 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 5. If I have a 6p.inc, they all will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? And if I have, let's say, 5 such emails and one the new, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 for the another one. I have already explained you here, right? Now, why we are doing this? You see, the plan is very simple. We will pick here only the one. In the first insert query, we will say that wherever the my row is 1, wherever the my row is 1, let's go and insert that into the main table. Simple. In that way, we will be having this, and then we will be having this, and then we will be having this. But wait a second. What if this email is already there? As you can see, I have this email already here. So we will say if the row number is 1 and that email does not exist in that table, then go and pick that. Right? So in this case, this will not be inserted in the first section because this already exists. And what about this? This will be inserted because this again a row number 1 thanks to the over clause and the row number function, partition, all that stuff. And this does not exist, so this will be inserted, right? And then this will be also inserted because this also is a row number 1 and this does not exist here. Okay. So this is what we have to do, first of all. So here, when you're writing this, the common table expression, so we will just have to change the things, which is what? Select customer name email from, not from the inserted now. Common table expression now, and here inserted, because everything you're taking from the inserted, that virtual table, and it goes into the common table expression. Now, why I'm doing this, I'll just tell you. I mean, why I have to create this common table expression, because in the common table expression, this works like a temporary table, and now this new field which we have created, right? Otherwise, you can't use this in the select query, but I can now use, right? So let's quickly go and say common table expression email, right? Now, where my row equals to 1 and this is what we will do. So this will make sure that all the emails that are unique, they will be inserted, right? Because see, again, I'll explain you. See, this p.inc, the one I'm inserting, the row number 1 does not mean that it is a unique, unless we go and check first that if it exists or not, right? If it exists, then that's why we have used and. We are using the and. That first it has to be 1. It has to be 1, and then it should not exist here. Only then you should go and insert it. Now, you may be wondering that, so why 1? Why not 2? Why not greater than 1? Isn't it? See, greater than 1 you can't do, because if let's say I say greater than 1, it means I'm going to pick this email. Now, you tell me if due to the partition, this row number is given to me 2, what does it mean? This means that while inserting the data by the user, when the user is inserting the data, this email itself is repeating. So how you are going to actually go and insert the repeating email without any identification? This 2, otherwise the 2 will never come. Are you getting the point? 2 is coming because this email already exists here, thanks to the, as I said, row number over partition. This is the catch, right? So if the user is going to insert 10 emails, and let's say there are 5 emails which he is inserting, and those 5 emails does not exist in the main table, but then from those 5 emails, we have to capture only the 1 email as it is, without giving any identification number, without giving any ID. Are you getting the point? Because first will be the unique. Rest 4, then we have to go and take care of those here. Remember, 1 email is okay because it's unique, but if the same email comes again, for example, by mistake or I don't know why, then it has to be prefixed with some ID, in this case ID. And this is the function we're using. Are you getting the point? So that is why the most important line here is that partition. Partition has that ability to create these sequences. Now, for example, if all the emails are different, then what will happen? If all the emails are different, this is also 1, 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 this is also 1. It means we are ready to insert them provided if they are 1 and they do not exist here in the main table, right? Because this can also happen that, I'm trying to insert an email. For example, here I'm trying to insert some email, and here, as I said, all are unique. At the time when the user is inserting, these are all A, B, C, B, E. But here, maybe email B is there, right? So here, when I'm inserting partition, over clause will generate these numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But at the same time, for that particular email which exists here, right, the AND clause will fail. So we are taking care of a lot of things, all right? So first part, this is done. Now, in the second part now, what we are supposed to do, we are supposed to now take care of 2 things. One is the email that is already there from the first part, the fresh email that is entered here. First of all, that email should not go in the calculation. Remember, this is the problem that we were facing. So it should be avoided. That for the email that is already here, that email we are not going to actually check if it exists or not. How you can check that? Well, we can simply say that email and the customer name if are same, email and the customer name are same, then we are not going to insert that email, right? Because see, email and the customer name, if they are same, it means it must have come from the first part. Okay, so I'm back now from the break. So let's continue now, and let's just go and uh, you know create this the step 2 basically, which is for the duplicates, right? So this is what we were discussing, that once the emails does not exist in the main table and their row number is 1, we will go and insert those the rows, right? And for the others which does not have the row number 1, which means that, like as I said before, that in a case where you have same email IDs which are coming from the user, knowingly or unknowingly, it's a mistake, or maybe it is like this, who knows, right? So partition by will generate these 1, 2, 3, right? Obviously you should know the partition function, because I can't explain you, it's very another level. I mean, it's a it requires some time. So it is understood what I have said. I'm again repeating that we are going to target the emails greater than 1, because those emails will be the ones which are repeating, right? Otherwise you will not get the row numbers 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Because if all the emails are unique, every email will have a row number as 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, right? So just like we have created this the unique, the common table expression, I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste this here, and this is for duplicates. This is what we want to do. And whenever you write two common table expressions, and they are different from each other, you have to put the semicolon after the first one, right? If you are trying to write common table expressions, multiple common table expressions, but later on you want to use them in a single statement, like maybe select statement, then you don't need to use the with. And here, then you use the comma just for information. Otherwise, just this is a rule. If common table expressions are different, then this is how we will write. Now here, in this case, again, we are generating the same thing. We are getting the same row numbers. The expression is, the name is CTED. Now here, what we are supposed to do is, as I said, that where my row is 1, here we will write my row actually greater than 1, isn't it? Greater than 1, and the email should exist, isn't it? The email should exist, because we are talking about here the duplicate emails, right? Now, for example, now let's use this example. Let's say I'm inserting this data, right? So right now in your data, you have this email P, and this is what, now in the first insert, the part 1, where you said that the row has to be equals to 1, this will be picked up, right? But since this exists here, so this email will not be inserted, correct? Right? So this is not applicable for the part 1, correct? What about this? This is again same email ID, right? And also this is not 1. So let's leave the 2 and the 3. So just let me write the comment here. So this is right now applicable for the part 2. Part 2, I mean this email, this common table expression which is duplicate, right? This itself again part 2, because the sequence is 2, and this also. What about this? Well, this is already taken care by part 1, the first common table expression, because this email is unique and also the number is 1. So this condition will qualify. this condition, right? It does not exist, and at the same time, it's 1. So same thing will happen with this one. This will be referred to the part 2, and this is part 1 already done, right? Now, what will happen when this particular email ID comes here? Again, same process. See this comma table expression? You will again have the same number of rows, right? Isn't it? Like 1, 2, 3, because this will do the same thing. Partition by email. There's nothing different here until now. Now, here, if the row is greater than 1, now the problem is this is not greater than 1. Listen to me now very carefully. See, let's first discuss the greater than 1. Now, this is greater than 1. This is also greater than 1, right? This, isn't it? Because of the row number, right? And if this is greater than 1, and if it exists here, both the conditions are true, then what do you want? Then you want basically what? You want to use this function new ID. So new ID will be prefixed with the email, right? So it means this email, and also this email, this one, these two, and so this, and this, and this. Because the row number is greater than 2, right? And this exist. Both these should go here, and they will have the customer ID, the new ID, right? So it means we will have these emails here with the ID will be prefixed. What about this? Pay attention now. Now this, because I'm writing and, both the conditions are supposed to be true. Now this does not exist. Or this exists? No, this does not exist. You see, j@inc does not exist here, right? Now, pay attention. Actually, it exists. Why? Because you see, this ID, which is 1, this has already gone here, right? Because j@inc in the very first part, this does not exist here, condition satisfied, and ID is also, the row number is 1. So this is already there. So it means that if any ID now comes from here, this will also go here, because this exists also, and the row number is also greater than 1. Correct? Right? Now this one is left. This one, because this exists here. So in the part 1, this email ID, the person named Anita, SQL did not insert this, because this actually exists here already. Remember, right? Now, once this ID goes here, this is not greater than 1. And this is where now you need to understand, because see, you have to take care of all the combinations, right? Some may be unique, but because they already exist in the main table, the first part will not take care of them. The first part will not insert them, and they will come here. So just by saying my row greater than 1 will not work. You have to change the condition for such scenarios. You can rewatch the video. As I said, it took a lot of time. You're smarter than me, I'm sure, right? You will not take those number of hours like me, like I had taken. I don't want to even repeat that, how much I had taken, right? See, so basically there were errors keep coming, and it's very difficult to, practically, find out the reasons that what is happening. One thing is correct, the second thing then is not correct. So when you are inserting the emails in the bulk, or when you're inserting the just one row, so a lot of things were happening. So for you, I'm just giving you saving your time. I'm just giving the, the points that can trouble you. So now we need to take care of such things also. So one thing is this, that if you have a unique ID like 111, right, there are two things. Either they exist or they do not exist. Isn't it? They do not exist in the main table. Isn't it? Now, if they do not exist, if they do not exist, then the part one, the, that basically the part one will take care of it, isn't it? If they do not exist and they have the count 1. But if they exist, then the part 1 will fail here. Then they will go to the part 2, isn't it? Now that is where you need to go and plug in the things. Because if the ID is greater than 1, like suppose ID is 2 or maybe 3 or maybe 4, if we have 5 emails, same emails, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, isn't it? Now for these emails, the part 1 is not there. You know that. They will always go in the part 2. They will always go in the part 2 because the point is very simple. I'm only first in the part 1, I'm only extracting the unique emails. If partition creates 2, 3, 4, 5 sequence, it means they are not actually unique. I'm again repeating, they are not unique. Even if that email does not exist here, for example, but here when the user is inserting those 5 rows, that is where the partition is, the row numbers are created here. So that is the point where the user actually himself or herself is creating the duplicates, sending the duplicates. So there's no point of basically putting them in the part 1. So they go to the part 2. And in the part 2, then we are saying that you are supposed to be greater than 1, which is fine. And you should exist here, right? In order to get the new ID. Now you may say that, so what if this ID2 does not exist here? Then what? Then what? Now you tell me, is it possible? If this is 2, it means 1 has already gone there, isn't it? 1 has already gone there. So 2, 3, 4, or whatever we have greater than 1, that is already there. Either already presented in the table or it has gone from the part 1 when the user actually sends the bulk rows. Are you getting the point? So now here we are now going to, because this is the most important part and this is where I was struggling a lot, right? So this is okay, my row exists and whatever you have written here. One more thing that we want to now do is that apart from this, there is one more combination that we should have here. Now, how I'm going to do this, instead of this and, basically, what if I just write or? Now think about it. See, or means either this is going to be true or this is going to be true, right? Either this is true or this is true, or both are true. Data will be inserted with the new ID. See, now I'm trying to cover both the points. Now you know that any 2, 3, 4, 5 is a duplicate ID, as I said. So naturally, their row number will be greater than 1 and this will be true. Then there's no need to check this. Simply go and create the new IDs. So new IDs will be prefixed with this, right? So you will get here everywhere the new IDs, correct? Now, as I said, for any case where you have a value called 1, this 1 will always exist. So it will always qualify this, isn't it? Remember why it is coming. Otherwise, it would have been absorbed here only. Sorry for this sound. It would have been absorbed here if it was a unique ID. Because it is repeating, that's why actually here. Because it is repeating, that's why not exist fails. And that's why this comes here. So doesn't matter that my row is greater than 1. So you are not going to qualify here, this one. But here you will always qualify because that is why you have come here. Specifically about these 1 IDs, right? So this is the plan. Are you getting the point? Right? This is the plan. Now, one more thing. So this all is done, right? Let me delete all this now. Now, we have taken care of this, right? Now, one more thing I want to see here, which I observed. See, if let's say user does not do the bulk inserts, right? Now, what will happen if I just go and insert this particular thing, just one row? The first condition will fail because the ID exists, correct? This will fail, so it comes here. Now, when it comes here, this the row number the given to this ID is 1, right? Correct. Now once this is 1, so this is where this will qualify because this ID exists here, right? So we expect that this should go here, correct? Okay. Now what if I put here D? I'm not talking about the bulk inserts now. I'm just talking about the single inserts. We're just cross checking. If this is the ID, again the row number will be 1 and this is unique because this is not here. So this should immediately go in the first criteria, right? And now because this is, we have written another insert here, right? Another common table expression. So here what will happen? My row greater than 1 or exist. You have to see this now. Greater than 1 is not possible, but we are writing or, right? Now this is again, this is what I was talking. This email has already, this d@inc has already entered here from the step 1. So this will also be true now. Are you getting the point? This will also be true, right? Because in this table, imagine that you have here the same ID p@ because, sorry, d@inc.com, right? Now, this is coming from the step 1, right? Where you created the clause that row has to be greater than, row has to be equals to 1 and not exist. So this is 1, this email ID is 1 and also it does not exist here, right? So now the data is here. But when this comes here, it again checks this because it has to run this. We are not breaking the code. We are not quitting from here. We are not exiting from here. I should use the right word. We are not exiting, right? So we are coming here and then it finds, oh, this email, the same email is here. Condition satisfies. So what will happen? This will have a new ID. So d@inc will again be inserted with some identification number. But that is something you never wanted. This is the point now. So we have to modify this criteria. We have to modify this criteria. We must make sure that when the SQL comes here, for the records that are entered here, right? The customer name and the email, the combination should not exist. Should not exist. Because if d@inc.com, the one you have captured here, if that has the same name which my CTED has from here, and the same name that has gone here, if they exist, then it means obviously it has come from the step 1 only. So we're going to say that no, in that case, this should not work, right? So this entire my row and 1, we will add one more criteria here. So I'm going to close this from here to here, right? And then we will write and. So we can write in this way that where my row is or exist, and let me take this in the same line, right? And one more criteria, and it should also not exist and not exist. And this is where now we will write select. So no, basically row should come. This means this, right? C dot email k equals to wait a second, from customer shopping C where C dot email equals to I dot email and C dot customer name equals to I dot customer name. And we're going to close this, right? So and not exist. This is how we're going to plan the things. Not exist, and this should be S actually. Yeah. So the combination of email and the name should not exist. Okay. So this is all the planning, and now let's just simply check this again. Let's execute this. invalid column name, my row. Okay, so uh, actually, I think I did some mistake here. So insert into this is from not inserted. Um, this is comma table expression now actually, right? So you have to take care of these things and CTE, because here common table expression is the one which is taking the data from inserted, right? So you have to fix this. This is how it is. All right. So again, I'm going to run this. Let's see that what it says now. Yeah, command completed. Very nice. Now let's quickly check. Let's execute this. So first of all, I'm going to insert this ID, right? So this should be inserted only once, isn't it? Previously, we saw that it was creating two copies, and we have discussed those things. So let's see now. Let me select the data. So it is inserted. Very nice, right? So now if let's change this to, let's say MK. I change the name. Okay. Let me run this. Again, this is a unique ID. So that's why you see first insert says one row affected. You can use set no count equals to false. I mean, just in case if you don't want these prompts, I understand that. But right now, I will not do. Okay. It tells me first insert has inserted. Second, this insert did not. And then, of course, this is giving the prompt for this also, which is okay overall. So let's see that. So far, we're getting the 100% success rate. Very nice. Now, what will happen if I insert demo with the, let's say, same ID? Now, what will happen? Now, because the email ID is already there. So first thing is the first step, the first common table expression will ignore this, right? Then it goes here, right? And because this is a single row, so row number is 1. So here my row greater than 1 will not qualify, but it exists here in the OR section, right? In the OR section, it exists. And remember one more thing. At the same time, we are using the AND as well. So it means that this has to be true and this also has to be true. We are using AND. So this also should return true and this also should return true. Only then the ID will be created. Are you getting the point? Right? But in this true, we are saying OR. In this condition, we have mentioned here OR. Right? So either this or this. But when you go here, so what will happen? This will give you the true here because it exists. This is false because row number is 1, which is okay because it is all. So it means this returns me what? True. What about this? Not exist. Not exist. Select one from this email D. So when this particular name goes here, it will find that the email is there, but the name is different, right? It means it was not inserted by the step 1. It is already there from the previous steps, isn't it? From the previous insert queries, right? So it means this will also be true, not exist. The combination does not exist. Are you getting the point? Right? So this should be there with the copy. Demo should be here with some identification. Okay, see one row affected. Very nice. This one row. So this means this is working, I think. Right? So I had to do a lot of questioning with the ChatGPT. ChatGPT was not able to crack this. Well, I should say that I was not able to maybe, you know, think beyond some certain points. ChatGPT was giving me a lot of, the codes. But I keep trying this. I keep coming back, and then through ChatGPT, I was getting some interesting, the changes. and I was doing those changes, and then I kind of created my own logic, and I threw that logic on the ChatGPT, and finally I got this from the ChatGPT that I was able to write the logic up to this point, but then ChatGPT has given me this, which is mind blowing. All right. So you see that we got the point here. Now, the last thing that I want to try is, so let's insert, these emails. If you find anything that, maybe the code has, is failing to achieve, because when you're going to use this, well, I guess you can try. I mean, you just go and then further tweak the code. It will be very easy for you because the job is already done. You just need to see, though I have tested, right? Now, you see, so I'm going to insert now, suppose I'm going to change this to demo one, hello, like this. Okay. Now see, user is entering here the same email ID, this, and this. So as per the rule, this is going to be row number 1. This is going to be 1. Let me just write here this comments, and this is going to be 1 again, because these are the different ones. This is will be 2. Partition is happening, right? I think the partition is the most important thing here, right? So in the first scenario, it picks this email and it checks if it exists here or not. Well, if it does not exist here, but it exists, so this fails. What about this? This will go as it is. This will go also as it is, because these emails are unique, right? So now we are left with this, and this, right? So when in the second part now, this is not greater than 1, we know that, but they already exist. So it means this is true, and then this by the name of, so do we have the same name here? Like this is a demo name, right? So with the demo, this person has a name. With the demo, this email, the email that we are trying to now enter, this does not exist here because demo has a different email, right? So it means this is true. So this should go there. So we will have a demo here with the different ID, correct? What about the 2 and the 3? 2 and the 3 will qualify here. What about 2 and 3? So 2 and 3 will qualify here, and they do exist also here, right? They exist also here, and here also they will say they do not exist because they have a demo name, but the email ID does not match here because this email is different, right? And this is possible only when basically at the time of when you're running the query, inserting the rows, that is where from the first part, from that very moment when user is inserting these, from that moment, I mean, if the records are going there, right? Only then there can be a similarity between the names and the emails. Otherwise, because once it goes there, then it will always have a unique name if it is repeated with a different name, obviously, right? So let's quickly go. So it means we expect here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 inserts only. It should not be 10 or 15, because if both the inserts will kind of, as I said that previously, 2 inserts were happening, because of that issue. Now that is resolved. So let's see that. So you see, it says 5 rows affected total. 2 rows affected on the top, which we discussed, which is for this hello and MK. For this demo 1 and hello. Very nice. And then 3 rows are inserted. Overall 5 rows. Right? This is superb. So we have to cross check now. Now let me show you this output. Yeah, see this. So Priya, p.inc. Do we have any? No. d.inc. Do we have any d.inc? No. There's no email repeating. MK. Well, we have MK here, but there is an ID here, which makes it unique. And then MK is here. This is again unique. This is MK. this is also unique, and then one more MK, and you see this is also unique. Now, instead of creating this new idea, I mean, this is just a project. I mean, you can think of something else also, but the point is very simple that we are able to do this. We're able to take care of everything, right? So this is how, I mean, using the chat GPT, you can crack the things. But as I said, that chat GPT is something, I mean, it is not a magic. You also need to have a knowledge about the product, especially with the advanced level of the, the requirements, the project that you're working on. Okay. Otherwise, ChatGPT cannot help you. Let me say this very honestly and frankly. You got to learn the things. But yes, learning can be faster. It can be sure shot achievable. You don't need any trainer. I mean, of course, you need the trainer, but once you have your own fundamentals, the clarity on the subject, you do not need to ring the trainer every time. You can use the chat GPT. Okay. Thank you so much.